Johnny. Now, as we move on to the next part of our program, this was an assignment of mine. God told me to tell Shelby's story until she could tell it. I've had the program together for a whole year. And so he even told me what to do on the program, which was what I'm going to do. And you know, God talked to each one of us differently. I don't know how he talked to you, but one time God told me I got this, and I said, "Oh, Lord, you never talked to me like that." You know, I was worried about something, but he told me to do this piece, the parable of an eagle, and I said, "Well, God, I did that some years ago." And he said, he took my mind back to this group. And listen, maybe you remember this group. This in my dream one night, you know. But he brought me back to Frankie Beverly and Mays because one year we attended the Essence Festival and Frankie Beverly and Mays was playing and he gave a testimony. He said that for 5-6 years, I think he said, that he could not sing nor could he talk. Doctors told him that he would never ever sing again. He would never speak again. But then after 6 years, he came back and he started singing. But this is the thing that God helped me to understand when I'm thinking about, whoa, I did that years ago and I'm bringing it back. And he said, 50 years, they wrote one album. Do y'all know that? He was out for a while, came back and started singing the same song. Frankie Beverly and Mays sang the same song for 50 years, and we were still out there, just going on and sliding across the floor. And so he said, if I can do that for them, they're finally retired, but if I can do that for them, what can I do with you, with King's Kids? So here we go. The title of this piece is called The Parable of an Eagle, and I gave it a title called King's Kids Don't Eat No Chicken Food. Now, I didn't say they don't eat chicken, don't be concerned. I said King's Kids Don't Eat No Chicken Food. Now, you might be wondering, well, Brenda, just what is a king's kid? Well, briefly, I think of two kinds of kings, an earthly king and a heavenly king. The earthly king, we can think of royalty and riches and money and castles and all those things. But then when I think of the heavenly king, the one who gave his life for you and I, the one who went to the cross for you and I, so that you and I can spend eternity with him. And so once you decide to say, okay, yeah, come into my life, be Lord of my life, that's the heavenly king. And so, in that case, you are a king's kid. And so this story will better help you understand this, the parable of an eagle, the king's kid. A certain man went through a forest, seeking any bird of interest he might find. He found a young eagle, picked it up, brought it home, and put it among fowls and ducks and turkeys, even though it was an eagle, the king of birds. 5 years later, a naturalist came along, and as he was passing through the garden, he said, that bird, that's an eagle, not a chicken. Yes, said the owner, but I have trained it to be a chicken, even though it's an eagle and its wings measure 15 feet from tip to tip. No, asserted the naturalist, it is an eagle still. It has the heart of an eagle. Give me a chance and I'll make it soar high to the sky. So the naturalist picked up the eagle and he held it up high and said with great intensity, "Eagle, thou art an eagle. Thou dost belong to the sky and not to this earth. Stretch forth thy wings and fly." And so the eagle turned this way and that, and looking down at the chickens eat, and down he jumped. The owner said, "See, I told you, it's a chicken, and it will never fly. No, said the naturalist, it is an eagle. Give me another chance tomorrow. So the next day, he took the eagle to the top of the house. He held the eagle up high, and he said, Eagle, thou art an eagle. Thou dost belong to the sky, and not to this earth. Stretch forth your wings and fly. And the eagle turned this way and that, and looking down at the chicken's ear, down he jumped and began to feed with the chicken. The owner said, see, I told you, it's a chicken, and it will never fly. No, said the naturalist, give it one more try tomorrow, and I'll make it soar high to the sky. So the next day, he took the eagle outside of the city, away from the house, to the foot of a high mountain. The sun was just rising, gouging over the top of the mountain, and each crab was glistering in the joy of the beautiful day. So the naturalist picked up the eagle, held it up high, and said with great intensity, Eagle, thou art an eagle. Thou dost belong to the sky and not to this earth. Stretch forth your wings and fly. And the eagle turned this and that, but he did not fly. So the naturalist made him look straight at the sun. And all of a sudden, with the mount of his wings, he began to tremble. And his wings went up and he began to fly higher and higher and higher, never to return. For you see, it really was an eagle, even though it had been tamed and trained to be a chicken. Perhaps some have told you in your growing up or in your relationship with people, they may not have called you a chicken, but they've told you you had chicken feelings and act like a chicken. You are an eagle. Don't be satisfied with chicken food. Now you're probably wondering, Brenda, just what is this chicken food? Chicken food is when someone says because of where you grew up, or what street you live on, or where you were born, you will never amount to much. You see, that's chicken food. And king's kids don't eat no chicken food. Chicken food is when someone says because you come from a single parent household that you are dysfunctional. Well, my children are from a single parent household, and so I looked up that word dysfunctional, and I found various meanings, but one stuck with me. Not the way it's supposed to be. So I told my children, I said, look, don't you let anyone tell you that you're dysfunctional. Because if that's the case, the whole world is dysfunctional, because it's not the way it's supposed to be. Chicken food is when some women say, all men are dogs. Now, I don't believe all men are dogs. I believe all of them have a little puppy in them. But I don't believe that all men are dogs. So you see, that's chicken food. And king's kids don't eat no chicken food. Chicken food is when they say that the black man is an endangered species and he is not deserving of our love, and that they will never amount to much. Well, I beg to differ. I'm a single parent, and I raised a black man, Merkel Parker, sitting in the audience there. And when he got out of high school, he said, Mama, I don't want to go to college. I said, now look, you might not want to go to college, but you're going to have to do something. You have to work. You're going to have to get up out of here, you know. And so for a while there, he went and washed cars, and he went and cut lawns, and then he said, Mama, you know, I think I want a career, so I'm going to go to college. So he went to college and he got his degree. But he really wanted to drive trucks. And when he was in the 11th grade, he wanted me to sign for him to go, 11th or 12th grade, to drive cross country, to drive 18-wheelers. I'm like, no, no, no. But you have to be cautious when people have dreams and desires, because he got his degree, but he still got out and he drove for different companies, and then he drove another truck for a guy who had his own 18-wheeler. But today that son has 3 trucks, a dump truck and 2 18-wheelers, and he has his own business. But according to society, he was supposed to be a failure. But what is that? That's what? Chicken food. And king's kids don't eat no chicken food. Now, chicken food is when they told us that Shelby was dying, that she wasn't going to make it. Chicken food is when they told Roy and Shawana to call the next of kin, that she wasn't going to make it. And I remember at the second stroke, Roy said, they don't know what they're talking about. But I do remember this, when she had her first stroke, and Shawana couldn't come to the hospital, and Roy was working far away, and he finally got there. When he saw his baby, he turned like this. And I asked one of my co-workers to be with him. And I sat there at the foot of the bed with my arms just folded, look at this little baby, this 19-month-old baby with her mouth twisted. And I said, not audibly, but I said, God, did you just give her to us a short period of time? And now you're going to take her away? And before I could finish that statement, the nurse said to me, I wasn't speaking audibly, she said, oh, you can go over and talk to her, and she can hear you. That's why I caution you when you go to the hospital to see people and they're sick and they're in coma-like states. Watch what you say. Don't stand around and say, well, the doctor say they dying. You know, that doesn't give them any hope. But because I'm a king's kid, and because I have this relationship, I didn't have to sit down and start praying, Lord, you know, I need your statement. You know, I just walked over to the bed. And I put my hands in hers and I said, Shelby, you're a powerful, dynamic baby girl of the Lord. I said, I don't think it's time for you to go. I think you're in there talking with the angels, and you have to come on back because you have a story to tell. You have a testimony. And about that time, she held my hand twice like that. And immediately she sat straight up. And she started regurgitating, and doctors and nurses started rushing over. And at that instant, there was a voice that spoke to me and said, she shall live and not die. And immediately she went right back to sleep. It's in the book. She was asleep for 2 weeks. And then after that, I screamed out in the emergency room, Satan, you can't have her. And then the chaplain said, I saw you transform. I said, yeah, something happened to me. You see, when they said, we all know that if the rapture doesn't make it back, we're going to all have to check out. But it wasn't time, and it's not time yet for Shelby to go. So when they say she had a stroke and to call the next of kin, you see, and she wasn't going to live, that's what? Chicken food. And what? King's kids don't eat no chicken food. So I challenge you today, no matter what life deals you. I remember once Les Brown said, when life experiences knock you down, strive to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. And some of us are landing face down, and we need somebody to help us up. But I encourage you to get the book. I encourage you to read it to the end and see some of the things that Shelby has done to be an encouragement. Eagles, thou art eagles. Thou dost belong to the sky and not to this earth. Stretch forth your wings and fly. Don't be satisfied with chicken food. Why? Help me with that. Because king's kids don't eat no chicken food. Now you see, Shelby had 7 holes drilled in her head. She bled many times. But it's nothing like the blood of Jesus. Listen, as